next morning, we woke up early to a fantastic sunrise. After spending some time looking in awe at Mother Nature's work, we headed over to the Monterey Cafe for some breakfast. Located on Alvarado Street, the old Monterey Cafe is a small place but big on service and delicious food. It was decorated with a wide variety of pictures on the wall. Here's a picture of Marion at the cafe, and here I am. And here's a picture of the tasty biscuits and gravy that I had for breakfast there. Leaving the cafe and driving to our next destination, we came across this site at Berwick Park in Pacific Grove, breaching whales carved from a dead tree. Here's the coastline at Berwick Park. Looking out in the ocean in the distance, I saw the sea otter floating in the water. Our next destination was the famous scenic 17-mile drive. There are three main entrances to 17-mile drive, and we entered the drive off of California 1. You can drive in either direction, and we chose to go clockwise. The first site we came to was the entrance to the Pebble Beach Golf Course. I had thought about sneaking in and golfing a quick 9 holes, but then I remembered I didn't own a set of golf clubs. So I nixed that idea, and we settled for a quick look at the Pebble Beach Visitor Center. Here's a shot of one of several trophies that are on display there. Walls are covered with all sorts of Pebble Beach information. If Jack says it's good enough for him, well then, it's good enough for me. Next up was Scenic Spot number 13 on the 17-mile drive, Ghost Trees at Pescadero Point. Besides the beautiful rocky shoreline there, this scenic spot is full of dead, sun-bleached cypress trees. Next up is the famous lone cypress. Over 250 years old, the lone cypress has braved the elements at this spot. Here's a shot of the rocky coastline there. We had planned on coming back at sunset to get some scenic pictures, but never got around to doing it. I really regret that. Here we are, posing like a couple of tourists in front of the lone cypress, just like thousands of other people do. A little farther down the scenic 17-mile drive is the Crocker Grove, where the largest and oldest Monterey cypress trees are located. Across the road is the Cypress Point Lookout. At the scenic vista there is a beautiful view of the rocky coast that we just came up from. Up next is the Fan Shell Beach Overlook. Across the road are these old cypress trees and the Cypress Point Golf Course. Here's a look at the waves at Fan Shell Beach. And here's Fan Shell Beach itself. Next up is a stop at Seal Rock. Here's a shot of the waves crashing against Seal Rock. Looking out to Seal Rock and why they call it Seal Rock. There's that old saying, you got an itch, scratch it. The next scenic spot was a place called Point Joe. Besides the scenic coastline at Point Joe, which has become standard on a 17-mile drive, there's also the Monterey Peninsula Country Club golf course there. Here's the tee-off spot right near the ocean. And now I'll zoom into that flag and where the hole is. I'm not saying that I'm a bad golfer, but that scenery would distract me into losing about 100 balls into the ocean. Our last stop on the 17-mile drive was a spot called the Restless Sea. And this is why they called it the Restless Sea. The reason why it was our last stop was because we were hungry. So we headed over to Lighthouse Avenue in Pacific Grove to get something to eat at Toasties Cafe. When I saw this sign on the wall, I knew I was in the right place. Here's Marion at Toasties Cafe. Here's a shot of our tasty BLT sandwich. And here I am. After lunch, we headed over to Sylmar State Beach to look around. Sylmar State Beach is also known as the Poor Man's 17-Mile Drive. That's because you still have the scenic coastline, but you don't have to pay an entrance fee. It's all free. So let's take a look around. That's Marion on the beach. And here's a picture of me. How's that for a couple houses? There's a Point Pinos lighthouse in the distance. We were there yesterday looking at it. By then we worked up a pretty good hunger, so we headed back over to Lighthouse Avenue and headed over to the ice cream shop. The ice cream shop boasts 50 flavors of ice cream and is decorated in wall-to-wall 60s music memorabilia. Here's a picture of Marion and the hot fudge sundae that she got. And here I am, and here's my hot fudge sundae, made with chocolate chip cookie dough and Oreo ice cream. Then we headed over to the Old Fisherman's Wharf in Monterey. It's a tiny little place with some souvenir shops, basically a lot of seafood restaurants. If you like seafood, you'll be in seventh heaven. By then, we were hungry again, but we didn't want seafood. We were craving some good old-fashioned American food. So we headed over to Archie's American Diner, located next to Cannery Row. There we both got a delicious hot dog and fries. I mean, how much more American can you get than that? By then, it was starting to get late, so we headed back to our motel and took one last long walk along the shoreline there. We had a busy day planned for the next day, so we got a good night's sleep.